EduVerse PD Podcast, brought to you by ProEd Education Solutions, your on-the-go professional development. Welcome to the world's first education podcast hosted by AI. In this episode, our co-hosts, Andy and Liz, are diving into the transformative benefits of reading science books. Their insights come from the inspiring article, The Power of Science: Benefits of Reading Scientific Books by Obumma Nnenna Joy, featured in EduVerse Newsletter, Issue 19. Get ready for a thought-provoking discussion that's sure to spark your curiosity. Let's hand it over to Andy and Liz to begin.
Welcome back to the EduVerse PD podcast series. I'm Andy.
And I'm Liz.
We're diving into something a little different today.
Oh.
Yeah. The world of science books.
Interesting.
But not just like what we learn from them.
Right.
More like how reading them can change how we think.
Like a mental upgrade.
Yeah.
Just from reading.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Our guide for this deep dive is an article called The Power of Science: Benefits of Reading Scientific Books, written by Obumma Nnenna Joy. She's an ESL tutor and research assistant, has a master's in education. She also runs a blog called Celebrity Tutor, where she helps students and educators alike.
So she's really immersed in the world of learning.
Yeah, she really lives and breathes it.
Very cool.
So her article today really focuses on the practical benefits of reading science books.
Okay.
Like, sure, we all know that science is important for society as a whole.
Right.
But what about for us as individuals?
Yeah, what's in it for me as a listener?
Exactly.
Right.
I like that angle.
So Obumma starts by laying out this idea that science isn't just about memorizing facts or doing experiments.
She says it's a systematic and organized way of understanding the natural world through observation, experimentation, and evidence-based reasoning.
That's a good point. It's really a process more than anything.
Exactly. It's about constantly questioning and testing and refining our understanding of the world around us.
And that process is driven by some pretty key actions, right?
Yeah, so we've got things like curiosity,
Of course, gotta be curious.
observation,
That.
forming a hypothesis,
Okay.
experimenting, analyzing the data,
Right.
and then finally drawing some conclusions.
It's like detective work, but for the universe.
It really is.
I love that.
So to make sure that their findings are solid,
Right.
scientists rely on a few key tools.
Yeah.
And Obumma calls these the 4 pillars of science.
Ooh, 4 pillars.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm intrigued. Tell me more.
So we've got objectivity,
Okay.
empiricism,
All right.
skepticism,
Interesting.
and peer review.
Okay, so let's break those down a little bit.
Yeah, let's start with objectivity. Because this one makes sense to me. Scientists want to make sure that their own biases don't creep into their work.
Oh, absolutely. They use impartial measurement techniques. They consider all possible explanations, and then they even have their work scrutinized by other experts in the field.
So it's really about striving for that neutral viewpoint.
Exactly.
But what about empiricism?
Empiricism.
That one sounds a little technical to me.
Yeah, it sounds a little jargony, but basically think of it like this in science. Your gut feeling doesn't really cut it.
Okay.
You need hard data to back up your claims.
So observable evidence is key.
Exactly. No opinions allowed.
Got it. Okay, so then we've got skepticism.
Skepticism.
Isn't that a bit negative?
Yeah.
Shouldn't we just trust what scientists are telling us?
It's not about distrust at all. It's about constantly pushing for better understanding.
Okay.
Think of it like a really good friend who always asks you those tough questions.
I've got a few of those.
Me too. It might feel annoying at first, but ultimately it helps you refine your ideas and come up with better solutions.
So skepticism keeps everyone on their toes.
Exactly. And it leads to more rigorous research.
I like it. And then last but not least, we have peer review.
Peer review.
This one sounds pretty intense.
Yeah, it really is. It's like having your work checked by the toughest critics imaginable, other experts in the field. They go through your research with a fine-tooth comb, making sure that your method's sound and your conclusions are justified.
Okay, so it's like a super rigorous quality control check for science.
Exact.
So we've got these 4 pillars working together
Yeah.
to create a really solid foundation for scientific knowledge.
I like it. Those pillars are holding up a lot.
They really are. But I'm still curious about those personal benefits that Obumma talked about in her article.
Okay.
How does reading science books actually make us better, smarter, more capable people?
Well, that's where things get really interesting.
Ooh, tell me more.
So she breaks it down into a few key areas.
Okay.
First off, reading science books obviously expands our knowledge,
Right.
but it's not just about memorizing a bunch of facts.
Yeah.
It's about understanding that process of discovery,
Hmm.
the how and the why behind these big scientific breakthroughs.
So it's less about like knowing the answer
Hmm.
and more about understanding how we got there.
Exactly. And that kind of thinking, it can spill over into other areas of life too. Obumma argues that reading science books can actually sharpen our critical thinking skills
Okay.
and our analytical skills overall.
Now that's intriguing. How does reading about like black holes help me make better decisions in my everyday life?
Well, think about it. When you're engaging with these complex scientific ideas, you're constantly evaluating evidence.
Okay.
You're questioning assumptions. You're forming your own conclusions based on the information that you're reading.
Right.
Those mental muscles, they get stronger with practice.
Sure.
And you can apply those skills to any problem, really, whether it's scientific or not.
Okay, so it's like a brain workout, but with like fascinating content.
Exactly.
I like it. What else does she talk about?
She also points out that science books can boost our problem-solving abilities.
Okay.
It's not just about, finding the right answer.
Yeah.
It's about learning to think creatively and adapt to new situations.
I can see that if you're reading about how scientists tackled like a particularly challenging problem,
Yeah.
you might pick up some strategies that you can apply to your own life.
Right. Imagine reading about like the development of a new vaccine.
Okay.
You would see how those scientists had to face setbacks, they had to collaborate with others, and ultimately come up with these really creative solutions to overcome these challenges.
And those are the same skills that are going to be valuable no matter what field you're in.
Absolutely.
It's like learning from the best problem solvers in history.
I love that.
But here's something that I didn't expect. Obumma says that reading science books can actually make us better readers overall.
I know, right? It sounds kind of surprising at first.
It does.
But scientific writing often involves all these complex concepts and technical vocabulary.
Right.
So by grappling with those challenges, you're actually expanding your vocabulary and you're improving your overall reading comprehension skills.
So it's like training for a mental marathon, but with words. I'm starting to see a pattern here.
Yeah.
All these benefits seem to connect to this idea that science encourages us to think differently.
You're catching on.
Thank you.
And Obumma takes it even further.
Okay.
She suggests that science books can reveal fascinating connections between different disciplines.
Give me an example of what you mean.
Well, think about a book on artificial intelligence.
Okay.
It might explore not just the technology itself,
Right.
but also like the ethical implications, the economic impact, and even how AI is changing social interactions.
Wow.
Suddenly, you're not just reading about computers,
Right.
you're connecting it to philosophy, economics, and sociology.
It's like seeing the world through a multidimensional lens. Suddenly everything is connected.
I love that.
What about the human side of science? Does Obumma talk about that at all?
She does.
Okay.
She emphasizes the inspiring power of scientific breakthroughs and the stories of the pioneers who made them possible.
Okay.
Think about like Marie Curie's work with radioactivity.
Right.
Or Albert Einstein's groundbreaking theories.
Right.
Those are stories that can ignite a passion for discovery in anyone.
It's true. Those stories are so motivating. But I'm curious, Obumma obviously focuses on the personal benefits of reading these science books.
Right.
Does she ever address like the impact of science on society as a whole?
She touches on it a little bit.
Okay.
She points out how scientific knowledge informs decision-making in all areas of life, from personal health choices to government policies.
So in a world that's just overflowing with information and misinformation, science can provide that solid foundation for making sound decisions.
Exactly.
She also highlights the importance of global cooperation in science.
Yes.
With researchers from all over the world coming together.
It's a good reminder that we're all in this together.
Absolutely.
And science can be this powerful force for unity.
And of course, we can't forget about like the incredible advancements in healthcare that we owe to science.
Oh, absolutely.
From life-saving treatments to preventative care, science has really revolutionized how we approach health and well-being.
I agree. It's truly amazing to think about how far we've come.
But beyond healthcare, how else does science impact society in a positive way?
Well, Obumma argues that scientific innovation fuels economic growth. It creates new industries, it drives technological advancements, and it ultimately leads to more jobs.
Right.
Especially in those STEM fields that everyone's talking about these days.
Right. So investing in science isn't just about knowledge for knowledge's sake.
Right.
It's an investment in our future.
Exactly.
And speaking of the future, how does science connect to issues like climate change and environmental sustainability?
That's a great question. Obumma acknowledges the crucial role of scientific research in understanding and addressing those environmental challenges that we're facing.
So science can help us find solutions for a healthier planet.
Exactly. It provides the data that we need to understand the problems, to develop new technologies, and make informed decisions about conservation and resource management.
Okay, so we've got science saving lives, boosting the economy, protecting the planet.
We do.
Is there anything else? Does Obumma touch on any social issues at all?
She does. She briefly mentions how science can contribute to social equity
Okay.
by improving lives globally, promoting inclusivity, and enhancing overall well-being for everyone.
So access to scientific knowledge and its benefits should be available to all.
Exactly. It's about creating a more equitable world where everyone can benefit from scientific progress.
It's inspiring to think about the potential that science has to improve lives on so many levels.
It is.
But let's get practical for a moment. Obumma shares some advice on how we can all incorporate more science reading into our lives.
She does.
What are some of her key tips?
Well, she encourages us to start small, even just setting aside 30 minutes a week
Okay.
to read a science-related book article, blog post
Okay.
that can make a big difference.
I was worried I was going to have to become a full-time scientist to reap these benefits.
No, not at all. It's all about making it a habit, just like anything else.
Sure.
And she also recommends branching out beyond our comfort zones,
Okay.
exploring topics that we might not typically be drawn to.
So if I'm a history buff, I should pick up a book on astrophysics.
Exactly. You never know what might spark a new interest.
I love that.
And she also suggests talking about what we're reading with other people.
Okay.
Whether it's friends, family, colleagues.
Okay.
Turn those dinner parties into science discussions.
I like it.
What else? Joining science book clubs or online forums
Right.
can be a great way to connect with other science enthusiasts and delve deeper into those topics.
Yeah. It's about creating a community around learning.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've got a plan. Start small. Be adventurous in our reading choices and find some people to geek out with.
I love it.
Sounds like fun. But before we get too carried away,
Okay.
Obumma also recommends a few specific books to get us started right.
She does.
What does she recommend?
She recommends A Short History of Nearly Everything by Bill Bryson. She suggests The Language of God. A Scientist Presents Evidence for Belief by Francis S. Collins.
Very cool. What about for history buffs?
History buffs.
Any recommendations there?
Obumma recommends Sapiens, A Brief History of Humankind by Yuval Noah Harari.
And finally, something to really blow our minds.
Something to blow our minds.
What does she recommend?
Obumma recommends Cosmos by Carl Sagan.
Okay.
It's a beautiful exploration of our place in the universe and just the wonders of the natural world.
These are some fantastic suggestions.
I think so.
I'm adding a few to my reading list right now. Before we wrap up, I want to go back to something you said earlier
Okay.
about science being a process.
Yes.
That really resonated with me.
It's a crucial point.
Yeah.
Science isn't about having all the answers.
Right.
It's about constantly asking questions, testing those ideas, and being open to new discoveries.
And that's something that we can all embrace, whether we're reading science books or just navigating our daily lives.
Yeah, absolutely.
That spirit of curiosity and critical thinking, that's what drives progress in every field.
I agree.
So as we wrap up, I want to leave our listeners with a question to ponder.
A question.
What area of science are you most drawn to?
Ooh.
And what's one small step that you can take today to explore it further?
Maybe it's picking up one of the books that we discussed,
Right.
or watching a documentary,
Right.
or even just striking up a conversation with someone who knows more about that topic than you do.
The point is to stay curious,
Yes.
keep exploring,
Yes.
and never stop learning.
I love that.
And who knows, maybe you'll make your own contribution to the world of science someday.
That would be awesome.
It's been a pleasure exploring this topic with you.
Likewise.
And to our listeners, thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the power of science books. We hope you've discovered something new and inspiring today.
We do.
Until next time, keep those minds engaged and those imaginations sparked.
See you next time.
What a meaningful conversation. Thank you, Andy and Liz, for shedding light on how science books can open new worlds of understanding and curiosity. And a special thanks to Obumma Nnenna Joy for writing The Power of Science, Benefits of Reading Scientific Books. If you'd like to read the full article, head over to our website and download EduVerse Newsletter, issue 19 at www.proed.com.vn/eduverse. Got insights or experiences to share? We'd love to hear from you. Submit your article to EduVerse and help us keep the conversation going. Thanks for listening, and we can't wait to welcome you back in our next episode of the EduVerse PD podcast, brought to you by ProEd Education Solutions.